Welcome back to the Payback Portal, where we serve justice hot, fresh, and exactly how it was ordered. If you enjoy watching entitled bullies get absolutely wrecked by the consequences of their own actions, you are in the right place. Let's step through the portal. Let us take a trip back in time. The year was 2015. The world felt different then, and I was deep in the trenches of the hospitality industry. I was working my way through nursing school, trading sleep for tuition payments, picking up shifts as a waitress in a very specific kind of restaurant. You know the type of place. They did not advertise, they did not have flashing neon signs or commercials on local television. They prided themselves on word-of-mouth popularity. It was the kind of establishment that relied on an air of exclusivity and high standards. If you were dining there, it was because you knew someone who knew someone, or because you appreciated the finer details of service. I had been working there for several months, long enough to have earned my stripes. In the restaurant world, respect is a currency you earn through blood, sweat, and spilled drinks. I had proven myself reliable, quick on my feet, and knowledgeable enough to help guide the fresh meat. I was not technically a trainer by job title, but the management knew I was the safety net. If a new server was drowning, I was the lifeguard they sent in to drag them back to shore. The restaurant floor is a battlefield, and camaraderie is the only thing that keeps you sane. We protected our own. If you were part of the team, we had your back against the rude customers, the impossible kitchen demands, and the chaos of the dinner rush. On the night of this particular tale, the schedule gods had paired me up with a new hire. Let us call him Arthur. Arthur was not your typical restaurant newbie. He was an older gentleman, perhaps in his 50s, who had just been released from his formal training period. He was a little awkward, visibly shy, and carried the weight of someone who desperately needed this job to work out. He was terrified of making mistakes. You could see it in the way his hands trembled slightly when he balanced a tray, or the way he double-checked his notepad 3 times before walking to the computer terminal. But he was genuinely kind. He was eager to learn, respectful to everyone from the host stand to the dish pit, and he was honestly just a great person to work with. He was assigned to the section right next to mine. This was strategic. It meant I could keep one eye on my tables and one eye on his. It was his very first night flying solo. He had his own section, his own guests, and his own tips on the line. I was ready to hop over the railing and prop him up if he hit the weeds. What neither of us was ready for was the shark circling in the water. The shift started normally enough. The clinking of silverware, the hum of conversation, the smell of seared steaks and garlic butter wafting from the kitchen. Arthur was doing well, managing his 2 tops and 4 tops with a nervous but polite smile. Then they walked in. It was a round table of 6 people, 20-somethings. They radiated an energy that every server recognizes instantly. It is a mix of arrogance, entitlement, and the distinct impression that they believe they are the main characters of the universe and everyone else is just an NPC. Leading this pack of wolves was a woman I will refer to as the trainer. She sat at the head of the table not physically but spiritually. She dictated the mood. She controlled the conversation. And from the moment she sat down, she had Arthur in her crosshairs. Arthur approached the table, water pitcher in hand, putting on his best customer service smile. I watched from a few yards away as I polished wine glasses. I saw his shoulders tense up almost immediately. He came over to me a few minutes later looking pale and confused. "They want something specific," he whispered, his voice shaking. "I do not think it is on our menu. I checked the pages twice. It is not there. But the woman, she insists we have the ingredients. She says the other location makes it for her all the time. She told me to just go back there and make it happen." My internal alarm bells started ringing. The off-menu order is a classic power move. It is a way for a customer to assert dominance and test the staff. I know more than you do. I could have told Arthur to stand his ground. I could have coached him on how to politely but firmly say, "I am sorry, if it is not on the menu, we cannot make it." But I looked at his face. He was already sweating. His eyes were wide with panic. This was his first night. Shattering his confidence now would be cruel. He needed a win. "Okay," I said, keeping my voice calm. "Ask the backline cooks. See if they are willing to do it. If they say no, I will go talk to the table for you. Do not worry." Arthur scuttled off to the kitchen. I watched the table. The trainer was leaning back, arms crossed, smirking at her friends. She looked like a cat playing with a mouse that had already lost a leg. Arthur came back a moment later, looking slightly relieved. The cooks said they're fine with it. It is basically just a wrap, I think. They said no problem. Great, I said. Put it in. You are doing fine, Arthur. Problem solved, right? Wrong. That was just the appetizer. Great, I said. Put it in. You are doing fine, Arthur. Problem solved, right? Wrong. That was just the appetizer. Accepting that off-menu order was like giving a vampire an invitation into your home. The trainer took it as a signal that Arthur was weak, and she proceeded to feast. Every time Arthur approached the table, she had a new demand. But she never gave them all at once. Oh no, that would be too efficient. That would be too kind. He would bring the drinks. I need extra lemons, she would snap. He would run to the back, get a bowl of lemons, and return. I need a straw. I only drink with straws. He would run back, get straws, and return. This ice is melted. I need a fresh glass. It was a systematic dismantling of his time and sanity. I was running my own section, taking orders, running food, and refilling drinks, but I kept my radar locked on Arthur. The poor man looked like he was vibrating with anxiety. He was running laps back and forth to the kitchen, sweat beading on his forehead. The worst part was her demeanor. She wasn't just demanding, she was cruel. She spoke to him with a sneer, rolling her eyes whenever he turned his back. She treated him like he was an incompetent servant in a medieval court. I tried to intercept him whenever he passed by the service station. Take a breath, Arthur, I told him, handing him a glass of water. You are doing fine. Just focus on your other tables. She is so unhappy, he stammered. I cannot seem to do anything right for her. I slotted his other tables into my own rotation. I refilled their waters, cleared their plates, and dropped checks for him, just to free him up to deal with the trainer's endless list of tasks. I wanted to make sure his other guests didn't suffer because of one bad apple. Do not worry about the tips on those tables, I told him firmly. They are yours. I am just helping you keep your head above water. He looked at me with such gratitude I thought he might cry. Thank you. I appreciate it. The meal dragged on for what felt like hours. This group was loud, obnoxious, and demanding. They consumed his entire attention span. They offered zero apologies and zero kindness. It was brutal to watch. I felt like an emotional support animal, trying to keep this man from walking out the back door and never coming back. Finally, mercifully, the night began to wind down. The rush had ended, tables were clearing out, the dining room was quieting down, the lights were dimmed, and the staff was starting to do their side work, rolling silverware, wiping down menus, cleaning the soda stations. The trainer's table was the last one left in our section. In fact, they were the last table on our entire side of the restaurant. They had camped out. Because I was closing with a new waiter, the manager cut Arthur early. This is a standard perk. The experienced server stays late to close, and the newbie gets to go home to recover from the trauma. Arthur walked up to me at the service station holding their bill. He looked confused. Hey, he said, holding out the ticket. How do I process an employee discount? I paused, mid-polish on a wine glass. I am sorry, what? She wants an employee discount, Arthur said, and she wants to use more than one on a single ticket. She says she has numbers for multiple people. Is that allowed? My brain ground to a halt. Then it started spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Wait, I said, my voice dropping an octave. She is an employee? Arthur nodded, looking defeated. Yeah. She told me she is a trainer at our other location across town. That is why she was so hard on me. She spent the whole meal telling me I am the worst waiter she has ever seen. She was critiquing me the whole time. That is why she ordered the off-menu stuff. She said the other location does it for her. I felt the blood boil in my veins. It was not just warm, it was volcanic. This woman was not just a rude customer, she was one of us. She worked for the same company. She knew exactly how hard this job was. She knew exactly what it felt like to be in the weeds on your first night. And instead of offering empathy, instead of being a cool industry guest who tips well and says no worries, she had spent 2 hours torturing a 50-year-old man who was just trying his best. She said I am terrible, Arthur whispered, looking at his shoes. And, oh, she also said there are multiple birthdays at the table. She wants the free cakes for everyone, and she wants us to come sing the birthday song immediately. I looked at Arthur. I looked at the table in the corner where the trainer was laughing, looking smug and self-satisfied. "Arthur," I said, a dangerous calm settling over me, "go to the back. Prep the cakes, put the candles on them. Do not go out to the table yet. Do not do anything until I tell you." "Okay," he said. "What about the discount?" "I will handle the discount," I said. "I need to talk to the boss." Our management team was, quite frankly, a unicorn in the restaurant industry. They were amazing. They supported us. They did not tolerate abuse. I marched to the front desk, where the front-end manager was reviewing the night's numbers. Let's call him David. David was a fair man, but he had zero patience for cruelty. "David," I said, leaning over the host stand, "we have a situation." I gave him the rundown. The off-menu demands. The running Arthur ragged. The insults. The fact that she made a grown man almost cry on his first shift. And the kicker, that she was claiming to be a trainer from our sister location and wanted to stack employee discounts. David's face went from neutral to stone cold. He looked over at the table in the corner. "She is an employee?" he asked. "That is what she claims," I said. "She gave Arthur the numbers." "And she treated him like that?" "David, she destroyed him. He is a wreck." David nodded slowly. He took the slip of paper with the employee numbers Arthur had written down. "Employee discounts cannot be stacked," David said quietly. "And trainers are supposed to model excellence, not abuse." He looked at me. "What do you want to do?" "She wants the birthday song," I said, a wicked smile creeping onto my face. "She wants attention. I think we should give her exactly what she asked for." David grinned. It was a sharp, predatory grin. "Go, gather the team. I have a phone call to make." He picked up the office phone and dialed the number for the general manager, the big boss who oversaw all the locations. I turned on my heel and sprinted to the back of the house. Because the restaurant was half closed, we had a lot of staff milling around, waiting to be clocked out or finishing up cleaning. I was on a mission. I grabbed everyone. "Hey you, come with me." I grabbed the other servers. I grabbed the bussers. I grabbed the hostess. I ran into the kitchen and grabbed the dishwasher, a massive guy with arms like tree trunks who was covered in suds. "Listen up!" I hissed to the assembled group in the server alley. "That table in the corner has been torturing Arthur all night. She is an employee from the other store, and she has been mocking him for 2 hours. She wants a birthday song." The mood in the hallway shifted instantly. The exhaustion of a long shift evaporated, replaced by the burning energy of righteous indignation. There is no anger like the anger of service workers defending their own. "We are going to sing," I told them, "but we are not just going to sing, we are going to scream." I looked at the dishwasher. "Loud, I want it loud." He cracked his knuckles and nodded. I found Arthur, who was standing by the dessert station with a tray of free birthday cakes, looking like he was facing a firing squad. "Arthur," I said gently, "we are ready." He looked at the mob of 15 angry employees standing behind me. "All of you?" "All of us," I said. "Lead the way." We marched out of the kitchen like an army. The restaurant was quiet, which made the sound of our footsteps even more ominous. We approached the corner table. The trainer looked up. Her eyes went wide when she saw the sheer number of people approaching. But then her ego took over. She smirked. She thought this was a tribute. She thought she was the queen receiving her subjects. She sat up straighter, ready to bask in the glory of her free cake and special treatment. We surrounded the table. We blocked their exit. We loomed over them. Arthur placed a cake in front of every single person at the table. The candles flickered. I made eye contact with the trainer. I took a deep breath. And then we unleashed hell. "Happy!" I screamed. "Happy!" The dishwasher bellowed, his voice booming like a cannon. "Birthday!" the entire staff roared in unison. You have to understand the acoustics here. They were in a corner. The walls were hard plaster. The ceiling was low. We were 15 people, running on caffeine and rage, projecting from our diaphragms. The sound did not just fill the space, it assaulted it. It bounced off the walls and compounded. It was physical. It was a wall of noise. "To you!" The smiles on the customers' faces vanished instantly. The trainer flinched. Her friends clapped their hands over their ears. They recoiled physically, pressing themselves back into the booth. But we did not stop. We did not speed up. We sang the song at a slow, agonizingly loud tempo. Happy birthday to you! I was screaming so loud my throat tickled. I saw the busser next to me turning red in the face. We were not singing a melody. We were weaponizing joy. The song seemed to go on forever. The guests looked terrified. They looked like they were in the middle of an air raid siren. The trainer was no longer smirking. She looked small. She looked overwhelmed. She looked like she wanted to disappear. When we finally hit the last note, a chaotic, deafening screech of "you," the silence that followed was ringing. My ears were hurting. It was a beautiful pain. She paid. She paid full price for every wrap, every lemonade, and every off-menu item. She walked back to the table, tears streaming down her face, and told her friends they had to leave. The walk of shame they did out of that restaurant was legendary. The staff watched them go. Arthur watched them go. When the door closed behind them, Arthur let out a breath he seemed to have been holding for 4 hours. Did she really get fired, he asked me. She really got fired, I said. The big boss does not play games with bullies. Arthur smiled. It was a real, genuine smile. My ears are still ringing, he said. Mine too, Arthur, I said. Mine too. It has been a decade since that night. I'm a nurse now. I deal with life and death every day. But whenever I hear Happy Birthday being sung in a restaurant, I pause. I think of the corner table. I think of the look on that bully's face when the wall of sound hit her. And I think of the justice served cold, loud, and sweet. She wanted to be special. She wanted to be the center of attention. We just gave her exactly what she asked for. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you never ever mess with the people who handle your food, especially when they have the lung capacity of a choir and the backing of a savage manager. The trainer thought she was untouchable, but she learned the hard way that sound waves can break more than just silence. They can break your career. What about you? Have you ever witnessed a Karen getting destroyed by a manager? Or maybe you were part of a petty revenge plot that went perfectly. I want to hear your stories. Scroll down to the comments right now and let me know. And while you are down there, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We upload fresh justice every single day, and you do not want to miss the next serving. Until next time, keep your receipts, and remember, the payback portal is always open.